afternoon everyone
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีลูกเดี๋ยวรอเพื่อนเข้ามาแป๊บหนึ่งนะครับมากันหลายคนแล้ว so everyone already send your case study very good all of this is interesting great สุกฤตมาหรือยังลูกสุกฤต
มาแล้วครับ
ครับผมสุกฤตมาครับทาโร่ลูกทาโร่มาหรือยังทาโร่ลูก
น่าจะใกล้เลยครับเพิ่งอยู่กลุ่มเดียวกันเพิ่งคุยกัน เดี๋ยว
โอเค
เขาน่าจะบอกครับผม
ครับลูกภูสนะ
มาแล้วครับ
ครับผมเอียงชัยพิพัฒน์ลูกเอียงมายังสิกเรตมาร์ชสุภชัยซีน
มาครับ
ครับผมฟ้องมาหรือยังลูกฟ้อง
มาแล้วครับ
ครับผมภูรินทร์ลูกภูรินทร์
มาแล้วครับ
ครับ most ลูก most music
มิวสิกมาครับ
ครับผมพรหมพล
มาครับ
ครับสังเก
อาจารย์ทะโลมาแล้วนะครับ
ครับผมทาโร่มาแล้วสังเก are you here
Yes, Ajahn, I'm here.
yes most เข้ามาหรือยังลูก most เห็น message มาแล้วลูก most เห็น message most มาแล้ว march เข้ามาหรือยังลูก
มาแล้วครับ
ครับเอียงมายังไม่เป็นไรมา so we shall start now so all of the project that you select is interesting let's see together so now I will try to share my screen so maybe today we begin with drought case by peace so Sanke, are you ready?
Yes, Ajahn, I'm ready.
Yeah. So please share your screen.
เห็นไหมครับอาจารย์
เห็นชัดเจนเลยทำ full screen นิดนึงเนาะ
ได้ครับ นี่ครับ
Okay. Good. Okay. Please.
Firstly,
Yes.
good afternoon, Ajahn and my friends. So now to present, we are going to present on drought case study on Gujarat. Next slide, please. So for the introduction, droughts have plagued India for centuries. So the terrible 1877 and 1899 droughts are vividly remembered. So these were caused by the lack of monsoon rainfall in most sections of the country. Then this led in widespread famines. Famines here refers to the poverty or the lack of food, or it can be referred to hunger. So according to the Famine Commission findings, these two calamities claimed the lives of 38 lakh and 12 lakh people respectively. We tried to find a statistic, but the information given in case study has only this figure because they have done it through some survey. Drought struck the 20th century in 1918, 1972, and 1987. Although the number of lives lost was relatively small, despite the fact that the population has increased by nearly fourfold. The 21st century, in the year 2002, the United States had widespread drought, yet, despite the severe suffering and economic losses, there were likely no deaths linked to the drought. Next slide, please. So the case study that, as I already mentioned, it's about drought in Gujarat. If I explain the demography and geography, Gujarat, it is located in the western part of India. So this is the map of the part of Gujarat. It has a long coastline of about 1,600 kilometers, and in this state it consists of 25 districts, and it has three distinct regions, namely Gujarat, Kutch, and Saurashtra. So the agricultural in Gujarat, it is the main rain fed, or the agriculture, it depends mostly on rain, and consistent rainfall is important for agriculture. Next slide, please. So there was a huge drought in 2002, and then drought is declared not only based on rainfall, but it can also be declared on a set of procedure established by the Gujarat Land Revenue Laws and Gujarat Relief Manual, in which revenue authorities they conduct a survey and estimate the potential shortfall in agricultural yield due to drought conditions. So this is done for each and every village and then for the crops. So in Gujarat, in 2002, 6,111 villages were designated as drought stricken. So it is a consequence of this village study, affecting about 12 lakh farmer families. Next slide, please. So here are the impacts of 2002 drought in Gujarat. In 2002, as I mentioned earlier, 13 districts of Gujarat state they received less than normal rainfall. So it resulted in the reduction or the decline in the agricultural product, and also slowed down the small and medium industries. So it is also interesting to mention here that especially disturbing feature of the monsoon rainfall in 2002 was that the monsoon it started well in June, but it felt almost all over the country in July. There was some improvement in August and September, but the large deficit it could not be made up. So the absence of adequate rain in July it damaged the crops that was planted or sown in July, and after August it was too late to sow again. Next slide, please. So here is the impact. The first one is the water level. So insufficient rainfall it has a significant influence on the drinking water situation, and in Gujarat 83 villages they were experiencing water shortages. This is all due to the drought. Even the water levels in Saurashtra, Kutch, and North Gujarat's reservoirs were near zero. So this is the table data that we got from the case study. So the reference is mentioned at the end of the presentation. So from this data, it shows that the water level in the reservoirs in the Kutch region, it was the poorest, as we can see here. It was only 2.52% of the designed life storage capacity. So almost every village in the region, they were suffering from a severe lack of drinking water. Next slide, please. Women and children. Who might have thought that drought have such impact in women and children? But it impacted a lot for women and children too, because women and children were negatively impacted in terms of their nutritional status and basic food requirements. So the most vulnerable were expectant and breastfeeding moms, as well as the elderly and children. So the drought in Gujarat has been claimed to have directly harmed 6,436 pregnant women and children, which is a huge number. So In case of livestock, due to the unpredictable rainfall, there was a severe shortage of fodder. Over 50 lakh livestock they were affected out of 72 lakh. There was no loss of cattle wealth, however, because the state government they provided fodder, drinking water, and animal care in drought-stricken areas. Next slide, please. The next impact we have in Gujarat is the employment. So the drought also impacted employment. Farmers and traditional artisans who were depending on agriculture, they suffered a lot of employment issues there is regarding the regular work. Due to this, many were either laid off or either transferred to low-wage jobs. So as a result, 16 lakhs workers were left without jobs for 8 months. It also had an impact on the state's economy and growth. The next one is hydropower generation. Drought can also affect the hydropower generation because due to insufficient and erratic rainfall, there it was mentioned that there was a 1,700 megawatt shortage in meeting power demand. So the lack of energy, it declined the situation on the agricultural and industrial fronts. And not to mention, the people's fundamental requirements for drinking water and comfort were also impacted. Next slide, please. So, to overcome this drought crisis in 2002, Gujarat they has come up with drought management. So the government of Gujarat it established Gujarat State Disaster Management Authority, that is GSDMA, with effect from 1st August 2003. So the revenue department through the district collector's office is in charge of executing emergency relief measures, and they provide relief following a natural disaster like drought. So the GSDMA will assist, coordinate, and monitor the revenue departments and other relevant government departments' disaster management efforts. So drought management they come up in order to take actions against this drought crisis. Okay, next slide, please. So under drought management, they have forecasting and warning systems. So what they did was, for accurate drought forecasting and warning, the Gujarat government, as I mentioned earlier, they formed Weather Watch Group under the chairmanship of Principal Secretary. So this group, they meet every week to monitor and analyze the monsoon activity. So the rainfall data of the past 24 hours is also collected from all the districts through online services. I tried to find how they do these online services, but I couldn't find because they have only mentioned this one. And then the Weather Watch group, they monitors the situation of rainfall and they analyze these water levels of reservoirs and position of groundwater resources. In addition, the agricultural activities, they also depend on rainfall, so the status of sowing operations and crop situation, they also monitor this. Sorry, next slide, please. So for the next drought management, they came up with drought relief measurements. What the government did was that the state government they took the following measures against drought impacts. They provided food for the work and they also provided cash tolls. So you might be wondering what is cash tolls. The cash tolls it is a money provided by government to those people who don't have jobs or have been affected by natural calamities. So they also improved in terms of drinking water. As shown here, DPAP it stands for Drought Prone Area Program. So the project completed were around 689, and the areas covered were uh, uh, 344,500. And then there are also ongoing projects to to relieve these drought areas and to provide clean drinking water, and so there are also area under this action. And for the desert development program, development program, there is DDP. The project completed is from it's like for 577, and this area covered 288,500 hectares, and then there's also ongoing project that is 1,494, and then there's area under this section of about 747,000 hectares. So IWDP, it stands for Integrated Wasteland Development Program. So they haven't completed any project yet, but there are some undergoing project, like 521 project ongoing. And then EAS, it is stands for Employment Assurance Scheme. So for under this program scheme, project completed is like 546, and then the area covered is like 273,000. Next slide, please. So they have also come up with the organizational structure. So this is the organizational structure for the drought management. The head one is cabinet subcommittee. Committee. So under cabinet committee, as we can see here, there are two groups. There is policy decision and monitoring and implementation. So first, I will explain the policy decision and monitoring. Under policy decision and monitoring, what they do is they make policy decision and monitor against the drought impacts, like drought crisis, and then it is monitored by chief secretary, and then under chief secretary they have principal secretary, and then they also have commissioner of relief that looks after the relief measures, and then under commissioner of relief they have director of relief and deputy secretary. So the another group is for implementation. Under implementation they have commissioner of relief that looks after how to that looks after the relief measures and how to implement the measures against drought. And then under the commissioner of relief they have director of relief, and then under director of relief they have district collectors with personnel. So that's how they run the organization against drought management. Okay, thank you.
So for
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you hear me? Hello?
ได้ยินแล้วครับลูก
Okay ครับได้ครับ Okay, so for lesson learned, I have 3 points from here. So the first one is the study of disaster management in the state of Gujarat with reference to the drought of the 2002 reveals that the people of the government made a considerable attempt to meet the challenges posed by disaster. The citizen actively participated in water harvesting through traditional methods. Depending village ponds, recharging dried wells, and construction of simple watersheds. In addition, the action initiated by the government, such as effective monitoring for weather watch group and their immediate response to the impending scarcity situation, help in providing reliefs for maintaining proper supplies of drinking water to affect areas. The district authorized provide the water tankers through the road and rails wherever shortage exists. In addition, preparation of timely action plans for tackling scarcity helped in management drought conditions successfully. For a policy directive issued by the state of the government to preserve the water, which is available in the reservoir for drinking water only, and not to release for irrigation unless approved by a high-level committee, save a good qualities of water. In addition to stop supply of water from dams and reservoir to industry, also contribute to reserve water for day-to-day use. The provision of electric connections to the farmers through the electricity board also help energize their water source. Last one is conclusion. So in this unit, we have mainly discussed the role of the state of government in drought management on the basis of case study of drought of the 2002 in Gujarat. True, not much can be done to prevent natural disasters such as severe drought, but intensity of their impacts can be reduced consistently through adequate planning, early warning, and implementation of action plans with their joint effort of the government and citizens. This unit is also discuss the organization structure of the state of Gujarat for drought management and how it proved effectively in 2002. In addition, institutional response system, relief measure taking the state of government roles of community-based organization have been described. It's also been brought out that states of administration learn from the experience of the drought of the immediate past. This fact highlights the impact of case study in disaster management. Thank you. Reference? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Then I comment for further work. Very good. Let me share my screen, and then the other group will maybe do similar things for the topic. Okay. The item that I will share now, that for the continuation of the work in this course. So this is the very good example. Everything is complete. I mean that beginning from the what we have like the cause of drought, and then the impact of drought, and then how we have the solution, the planning, and the structure of the management and everything. So the structure of the presentation is very good. I'm impressed, except some detail that you could not find. Never mind. We will do more exercise in another work. This is like for every group that you have like a example of the project as the case study in the topic that we select, right? So now the next thing, we will work in detail so that we will find out what is the drought problem, drought as impact of climate change in Thailand. Then we can find more information about this. I think more, but sometimes less, because our country has some problem of the documentation. Never mind, let's do together. So for the next chapter, we will go deep down into detail of the study of this phenomena in Thailand, so that you can describe the cause of drought in Thailand. And then we can emphasize that one of the cause, it is as a impact. We have the study that we have more frequency of drought due to climate change. And it's very dynamic. It changes every year. Okay, so we have a high variability of the weather, particularly high variability of rainfall that caused this drought in Thailand. And then we can describe what about the case in Thailand? What is the impact of the drought? And then what we are doing now to prevent, to assist, or to reduce drought damage nowadays. And then we conclude by what we will do in the future, the plan in the future, like you said in this article, like how can we protect, how can we reduce, and what is our adaptation plan for the drought. You can do it one by one. Okay, one by one. Maybe we can begin with this one first, the first chapter. And then after that, another week, we can say about impact. And then what we are doing now. And then another week, we can talk about what the government think about the future. And then after that, we can conclude. Our final one is what we think. It free your imagination because after this, when we ending up with this one, you have a lot of information, and then you have your own creativity, initiative one, and then you can decide what you will do if you are government. Okay, so we will conclude at the end of the course that what will you do as suppose you are government. You can imagine so that we can imagine that what should we do for the future. This answer, no right, no wrong. We can see the logic. It's free thinking, imagination of you. Okay? So for the other group, it will be the same, but we change the topic. It's interesting, right? I'm curious to know what will happen. Okay, everyone. So thank you very much. Peace. So next one is ครับผม good job look Sangke, very good job Sangke. So
Thank
but,
you,
but
Ajahn.
yes, but do not worry na Sangke and Popot, you can begin one by one. Okay, this can be the research and some information concerning to your topic. It can be Department of Water Resources one, Royal Irrigation Department another one, and another one HII is the Institute of the Hydro-Informatic Institute. All of these, they have their website and many things that they can do for drought, the plan of the government. This is the plan, what they are doing now. Okay, and another thing is that we have the research paper, many things concerning this. The like in journal, keyword is drought in Thailand, and then you can find keyword is climate change. You can find many journal, many topic, climate change. What else? Drought. Another keyword is in Thailand, like this. And this can be the sources that you can find. Okay, one by one.
Okay, Ajahn.
Thank
So
you.
for the
Good
next
job.
week, Ajahn,
Next
for
week,
the
no
next week,
cost.
I have to
No cost. Yes.
For the next class, I have to present on drought, impact of drought in Thailand. Is it?
Yeah. Next week only cost of drought in Thailand. One
Okay,
by
Ajahn.
one. Okay. And
Okay, Ajahn.
another week impact of drought. And another week what we are doing now. And another week what government plan to do. This kind of the government agency that concern, like Department of Water Resources, Royal Irrigation Department, Hydrologic Institute, Information Institute, like this. So when we analyze all of these four things, and we have also the information that you did, this information that you did, you have some idea, and then you mix and synthesize and analyze this what you did and this thing together, and then you create your own idea. This is the last chapter to end the course with this one. If you are government, what will you do? Okay.
Okay, Ajahn. Noted, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, good job. So next group ฟ้อง ready หรือเปล่าครับลูกฟ้อง
Ready ครับอาจารย์
Okay, so you can share your screen นะคะ
อาจารย์เห็นสกรีนไหมครับ
เซนลูกเอาเป็น
ครับ
full screen โอเค yes
ครับ Today I would like to present about water level rising in Venice. We are group 1 iPhone 13 Pro Max and we are two. I am Julajit Pumivichit and my buddy is Sitipon Chaisena. Information about Venice. Population about 600,000, 637,000 people in Venice. Venice is located on more than 100 small lagoons in the Adriatic, teacher. Adriatic Sea. Venice is built on stacks, wooden platforms, and stone. No road, no car, just canals. Venice is a major seaport, exports and import lots of material. Venice is a big stop for many cruise lines, which brings a lot of tourism. Venice, Italy is known for its beautiful building and waterway canals, but the way that the 1,600 years old city was built make it especially at risk of damage from sea level rising. Problem: rising area are increasing the number of floods during high tides, and for many years Venice has been slow sinking. The European Geoscience Union released a new study on Venice. It found that the Italian city could see a sea level rising of 120 centimeters by the end of this century. On the left hand side is the photo of the flood in Venice. Venice, Italy. After Venice suffered the second worst flood in its history in November 2019, it was inundated with 4 more exceptional tides within 6 weeks, shocking Venetian and triggering fears about the worsening impact of climate change. Scientists say summary of problem. Scientists say rising sea level, high tide, and strong wind are caused the flood in Venice, and the left hand side is the graph for the flood in Venice.
Okay, this slide will show you about how to protect the flood in the Venice. So this is the high-tech flood protection technology. In the 1980s, the Italian central government decided to decisively tackle off the flooding in Venice and institute a project called MOSE, derived from the name of Moses, who broke a Red Sea to help the Israel escape from the Egyptian army, which is the 78th open and closed barrier will be built underwater along the 3 inlets that connect the Venetian lagoon with Adriatic Sea. It's used a remote control to raise a barrier when the water levels rise, prevent water from entering the lagoon, protect Venice from the flood before lowering the barrier when the water level is low. Next slide, please. And this is the mechanism of the MOSE. The first one, how it works. The first one is barrier will stay on the seabed until high tide and storm are forecast. The second one is air is pumped into each hollow gate, causing it to rise to the surface. It makes 30 minutes to rise and only 15 minutes to return. Also, the last one, each gate move independently, allowing the barrier to deal with a rough sea. Lagoon level can be as much as 4 feet below sea level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good, interesting one. So we have an idea, right? So when water level is rising, causing more flood, and we can see what they did to prevent. So now let's see it together. So I will share my screen. Good job, every group did the good work. So now, very good job. It's interesting. We have an idea already. So to continue concerning this topic, what about in Thailand? Same as I mentioned with the peace group, so that we will have a look coastal erosion as the impact of climate change in Thailand. Let's see. For example, the first chapter, you have to study a little bit. What are causes of coastal erosion? There are many things that make coastal erosion, and one of that we claim that it come from climate change. We claimed. I don't know whether nowadays we have evidence to verify whether that one of the cause is climate change, because they say like this, that when you have like this water level and this is the coastal, so that we have a high wave that is coming. They said that this high wave is due to climate change. We have more high wave and the change in the current, so causing the problem of coastal erosion. But there are so many causes, man-made, many things. So you can talk about this in the first chapter. So next week, another week after midterm exam, we can begin with this one. Okay? And then same as the other group, I will put the same thing, the second topic, that is, and what are impact of coastal erosion in Thailand? So many impact. Okay? And then, so what did they do? What they are doing nowadays to prevent this phenomena or to reduce the damage from coastal erosion. And then at the end of this chapter, we would like to know what they are planning to do to mitigate, to reduce, or to prevent, or okay, let's like that. We have to adapt ourselves. They will have like a mitigation plan, protection plan, or prevention plan, and adaptation plan. How can we live with climate change? And this is one of the impact. Pong, understand?
ครับอาจารย์
Okay,
ครับ
something
ผม
like this. One
ขอบ
by
คุณ
one นะคะลูก one by
ครับ
one. So it's interesting. This topic you can find this one in the website, like ภาษาฝรั่งว่าอะไรก็ไม่รู้นะลูก กรมทรัพยากรทางทะเลและชายฝั่ง กรมทรัพยากรทางทะเลและชายฝั่ง This one did a lot of project concerning this. And also another thing is the satellite image from GISDA. GISDA is another thing that they try to study using satellite image to see changes of the coastline like that. And there are a lot of researchers concerning this topic in Thailand, like the thesis, like a research report or something in the journal. Okay? Okay, good job. Thank you very much. So, what is the next one? Hogwarts. Are you ready?
ครับ
Hogwarts. Ready ไหมลูก
ready ครับ
Okay, please share your screen. Oh, you changed the cover. New action.
อันนี้เห็นจอไหมครับอาจารย์
Yes. Typhoon. Okay.
so today I will present about the typhoon Haiyan
Okay.
What happened? First, Typhoon Haiyan was a tropical cyclone that affected the Philippines in Southeast Asia in November 2013. It was one of the strongest tropical cyclones ever recorded, with winds of 313 km per hour. In some areas, 281.9 mm of rainfall was recorded, much of which fell in under 12 hours. Waves of up to 7 meters in height battered the coast. The Philippines is a very poor part of the world with minimal investment in prediction, planning, and protection. Why? The Philippines sit in an area of seasonally warm ocean water. The sea temperature over is 27 Celsius and has enough Coriolis force to keep rotating wind over the ocean surface. Sea level rise is happening globally but it particularly affects the Philippines. It is caused by global warming and has gone up by about 20 centimeters since 1900. This sea level rise key layer storm surge use of groundwater has caused part of the country to sink. The worst affected city is Tacloban. It's at the end of a bay that funnels water from the storm surge. Study area. You can see from the photo the city of Gi An, Gi Uan, located on the islands of Leyte, is 11 degrees north, 125.44 degrees east in the eastern Visayas. Philippines first experienced the full force of Typhoon Haiyan, Super Typhoon Yolanda as it made landfall. Timeline of Typhoon Haiyan. It starts from 2 November 2013. Typhoon Haiyan started as an area of low pressure several hundred kilometers east southeast of Phnom Penh in the federal state of Micronesia. And the next day is 3 November moved west and developed into a tropical depression. 4 November is Haiyan become to a tropical storm. 5 November the system began a period of rapid intensification that brought it to typhoon intensity. 7 November Typhoon Haiyan made landfall in Guiana, eastern Samar. 10 to 11 November Haiyan reached Vietnam and weak in intensity. ครับ Cause of Typhoon Haiyan. First is overall economic impact of Typhoon Haiyan is estimated at 5.8 billion. Second is more than 7,000 people were killed by Typhoon Haiyan. Third is 1.9 million people were left homeless and more than 6 million displaced. Fourth is widespread flood damage in many cases destroy home and business in coastal area. 5 is Tacloban City Airport was several damage affecting business and tourism. 6 is there were outbreak of disease due to the lack of sanitation, food, water, shelter, and medication. To assess the disaster risk reduction caused by the climate change, we had quite a different approach rather than considering the disaster mitigation as we discussed in the paper. This is to consider the disaster prevention. For this purpose, we should estimate change in the frequency of event occurrence. We have another option of introduction, a stochastic hurricane model of the type. This method imposes a stronger limitation of the assumed hurricane structure and intensity than dynamically. Thank you for listening.
Okay, another topic. Interesting. Okay, so I try to find a new chapter for you. I just propose if you like something like this. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So you have an idea now that climate change makes a lot of things happen. Particularly, we have the strong wind. Okay, and then we will go into detail about this. What about the next one? For example, this is for just an example proposed you as an idea. You can modify. If you don't like, you can find other things. For example, we want to know what about the, because we don't have too much typhoon, right? We are inland, so like a Vietnam, they suffer this one from us, not us. So what about strong wind in Thailand? Strong wind as the impact of climate change. Maybe we can begin with the first. What about the relationship between the strong wind and our engineering work, like infrastructure? We have a code that we design. What is the wind that we used to design? That is the previous wind velocity that we have now today. And then we can change this one into like a, we have the new design. Why the new design? This is because we have the evidence. We can find that. We can prove that now today we have stronger wind, both wind speed, and we have the change of wind direction, something like this. So beginning with the relationship between the impact of wind and infrastructure, like a high-rise building and suspension bridge, something like that. Then we can find that, okay, this will have the impact on the infrastructure, and we can prove that now we have stronger wind because such and such. Okay, we have many statistics and many research work concerning this. And then later on we will talk about, so what we are doing now when we know that wind is increasing, wind velocity is increasing. What we are doing now in civil engineering, we try to prove and have the new design code. The new design code, change the design code based on new record of the wind. And then we have new design code and we have new design to protect. And what is the plan? What we should do in the future? What is the government think about this wind velocity? If you like this one, you can do. Otherwise, you can find other topic that you like. That if I related to this, what do you think, Howard?
I think it's good ครับเพราะว่าwhen I have research about the how to prevent it have like calculation about the storm surge with the building.
Good. Storm surge, right?
Yes.
Okay. You can do this because you have like a relationship between the storm surge and how to protect the building, right?
Yes.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. So we can do in terms of wind and then storm surge. And then it concerned about our infrastructure, that is the foundation, right? And other infrastructure. Good, interesting topic. Thank you. Next group ค่ะ
เดี๋ยวขอต่อใช่ไหมครับอาจารย์
ยีดใช่ไหมลูก
ครับ ใช่ครับ ใช่ครับ
โอเค
ดีเลยครับครับผม
โอเค
นี่เห็นหน้าจอใช่ไหมครับ
ใช่เลยชัดเจนเลย
ฮัลโหลเริ่มได้เลยครับ
เริ่มเลยลูก
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Krapajan. Today we are going to give a presentation about global warming in the Himalayan mountains of India. So it's a case study right here. First of all, I would like to begin with the terms of the global warming. So global warming is now one of the major environment issues by virtue of which the temperature around the surface of our Earth in the troposphere layer of the atmosphere has amplified to considerable extent, due to which spectral changes in the climate arrangements which occurs rapidly. And for some who may not know about what Himalaya is, so Himalaya is a mountain range, the youngest and the highest one located in Asian subcontinent, and because of its vast water reservoir and unique terrain, it is globally known as the water tower of Asia and the roof of the world. Next slide, please. So we'd like to talk about the impacts of melting Himalayan glaciers. So there are 5 main impacts, which is the increase of flooding, the more extreme weather events, the changes in the monsoon, the lower agricultural yields, and the changes in the energy production. Next part. So for our study area, this is the study area which we do a research from the research about the Himalaya mountain ranges. Okay, next slide. So the current situation caused by the global warming in the area. So speaking of the Himalayas, it is confirmed that the Northwest Himalaya region was warmed significantly at a higher rate than the global average, and a significant rise of 1.6 Celsius from 1901 to 2002 has been reported in the Northwestern Himalayas. The seasonal mean and the maximum and minimum winter temperatures from 1985 to 2008 also have increased over the Himalayas. And the study also reported a change in the pattern of seasonal snowfall during the winter in the Western Himalayas from 1989 to 2007. So there is a decreasing trend in the winter snowfall from 1989 to 2008 as well. Next slide, Kap. So speaking of the methods used to identify the changes in the glacier, so the Himalayas' harsh weather and rugged terrain make field monitoring glaciers challenging. Remote sensing is a useful tool for glaciological research and monitoring, because the remote sensing provides a regular synoptic picture of the Earth, and it is vital to estimate the glacier extent using the satellite photos. And a glacier lens changes reveal changes in temperature and precipitation. From 1962 to 2008, the shortest Shurikri glacier's length and extent changed based on the topo sheet maps and satellite pictures from multiple sensors.
Okay, so the study used photos from Indian remote sensing satellite taken between 1999 and 2008. The SOI topographic map, georeference, or satellite pictures. Each image was co-registered and resampled to the same resolution. The glacier edge was marked on a topographic map and scanned using a geographic information system. The glacier limit was defined manually and visually using GIS. Glacier border, accumulation area, ablation area, equilibrium line, and moraine dam lakes may be effectively mapped using false color composites of visible and near-infrared satellite imagery. So on the right is the picture of the loss of the glacier in square kilometers. Okay, so discussing about how can we slow down the melting rate of the glacier in the Himalayas. Dr. Darren Jones at the University of Exeter shows rock glacier already account for about 1/25 of Himalayan glacial ice, and this proportion will rise as exposed glaciers continue to melt and some transition to become rock glaciers. Rock glaciers have generally been overlooked in the studies about the future of Himalayan ice. It shows that there are about 25,000 rock glaciers in the region, containing a total of about 51 cubic kilometers of ice, or 41 to 62 trillion liters of water. These slow-moving glaciers are well insulated, and as a result, they are more resilient to global warming than true glaciers, which could be an alternative solution for this situation. Moreover, as we know, reducing carbon dioxide emission will potentially reduce the rate of retreating glacier. Yes, so thank you.
Okay, interesting one. Okay, good, good, interesting. So it's a complete. I mean that you include everything in the case study, so we can understand how can we solve the problem. So now, what do you think about this? Because we don't have the glacier in Thailand. What should we do? I think about the problem of flooding. It may be the same as the pouring, but never mind. What do you think? Or you want to do the drought?
เออ coastal erosion ก็ได้นะครับ ถ้าไม่ถ้าอาจารย์โอเคว่าไม่
Yes.
ถ้า
Okay.
ทำก็ได้
Can repeat. Yeah, we can repeat two groups, no problem, because there are a lot of things to say. Okay. Okay. So you are interested in coastal erosion. Okay.
ได้ครับ
Okay. Good. Thank you.
ครับ
Good job, look. Good. Then the next one, look. Next one. Red Panda. Red Panda. Are you here?
ครับ
Okay. Red Panda, are you ready?
ครับผม
Okay ครับลูกแชร์สกรีนได้เลยลูก
ครับเห็นไหมครับ
ชัดเจนลูก
Well, continue for the last week, I present about case study in New Zealand, the impact of rainfall. Heavy rainfall is one of the most frequent and widespread weather hazard to affect New Zealand. It is defined as rainfall greater than 100 millimeter in 24 hours. In New Zealand, heavy rainfall is relatively common, often a significantly amount of precipitation occur in only a few hours, leading to severe flooding and landslide risks. And the consequence of heavy rainfall can lead to numerous hazards, flooding, including risks to human life, damage to building and infrastructure, and loss of crops and livestock, and landslides, which can threaten human life, disrupt transport and communication, and cause damage to building and infrastructure. So this is the livestock and debris slide in the Manawatu Gorge, which block the road. And change in rainfall, this is an indicator examine U.S. and global precipitation pattern based on rainfall and snowfall measurement from land-based weather stations worldwide. On average, total annual precipitation has increased over land area in worldwide. In the figure, since 1901, global precipitation has increased at average rate of 0.1 inch per decade.
And climate change can affect the intensity and frequency of precipitation. Warmer oceans increase the amount of water that evaporates into the air. When more moisture landed air moves over land or converts into a storm system, it can produce more intense precipitation, such as heavier rain and storms. Next slide, please. And here is the graph show total rainfall amount in last 5 years from 2016 and 2016 and 2019. As you can see, 761.7 is the lowest amount of rainfall, and the largest is 1,186.7.
I think this one the unit is wrong. Please check again. But the graph is okay. Because
Okay,
the amount of rainfall Normally, it is the height. The measurement of
อ๋อ
is the height, like how
โอเค
many
ครับ
meter. Okay, never mind. Go on. Sorry
ค
for
รับ
it.
ผม
Yeah.
ครับ and the average is around 972.26 and the format of the graph is slightly increasing since the past from 2016 and until 2020 and the last 2 years the amount of rain is more than average from the graph shown in 2019 and 2020 thank you ครับ
Thank you. So you select this topic. Thank you. Good job. Good thing that we learn a lot from what happened in other countries. So it's interesting to see what happened in Thailand, I think, right? So you can continue to see, for example, the rainfall, the change of rainfall, like you did here. We have a lot of papers. So first, the cause of rainfall due to climate change, showing some statistics. Okay, and I think that we should end this topic with flooding because the impact of heavy rainfall is flood, right? But there are a variety of rainfall and a variety of floods. If it rains slowly but rain for 1 week, continuous non-stop raining, it also flood, another kind of flood. But if you have a heavy rainfall with only 3 hours, but very heavy in mountainous area, it could be flash flood. So another phenomena occur, right? So you can study this. Is this interesting?
ครับผม
No?
ได้
Okay.
ครับ
So the sequence of the presentation will be similar to the other groups. Okay? Okay.
ได้ครับ
One by one. Okay. Good. Thank you
ครับ
very much.
ครับ
Yes.
ขอบคุณครับ
ครับ. So another one, the last one. Only one. Purin.
ค
Single
รับ
one.
อาจารย์
ครับผมเก่งมาก Single one มาก ยังไหวอยู่ไหม Single one เนี่ย
ไหวครับ
ยอดเยี่ยมเลย You can share your screen.
ได้ครับ โอเคครับ Okay, today we will present about flooding management and case study of flooding. Introduction, the number of flood events has increased significantly all around the world over the last 3 decades, while the number of fatality per flood event exhibited an almost constant trend during the 1980 and 1990. It had markedly decreased since the year 2000, despite the significant increase in the number of floods. The flooding management strategy. The flood management strategy include pre-flood measure, flood forecast, and post-flood measure. Pre-flood measure provide the natural, institutional, and social infrastructure for the viable management of a flood risk ครับ component of a flood forecast warning system ครับก็นี้จะเป็น this is a picture to show the system. Flood management strategy for the Cordilleras River Basin. This is a case study that I chose to present today. The general characteristic of the Cordilleras River Basin and the flood management strategy. General characteristic of the Colorado's River Basin. The Colorado's River Basin where flood phenomena appear from time to time is located 15 kilometers east of the city of Chania, Greece. This is a picture, the hydrometeorological network in the Colorado's River Basin and a representation of the elevation zone of the technical measure. The area of the basin is estimated to be 130 kilometers, while the total length of the hydrological network of the Colorado's River is 36 kilometers. The length of the river from the intersection point where all the streams meet to the outflow point is 3.3 kilometers. The flood management strategy, pre-flood measure, flood warning system, and post-flood measure. Pre-flood measure, a flood prevention protection plan should start from the mountainous region in order to moderate the phenomenon in the generation based on European Flood Directive and the Water Framework Directive. Flood warning system. Apart from pre-flood measure, it is important to have satisfactory flood warning system. The milestone in the occurrence of a flood event. The first milestone is the beginning of the precipitation that cause the flood, and the last is the extent of the water level, the whole at which property damage, injury or loss of life occur. Post-flood measure. In the first few hours after flood, a number of actions should be taken in the Colorado's River Basin to eliminate and mitigate its consequences. The cause of flood and the degree of destruction should become known in all regions affected. The local authority should evaluate the possibility and the type of external assistance ครับ Thank you ครับอาจารย์
Good. So you have the complete content of the event of flood. Very good. So you explain very well. So this is the complete one concerning the case study. So that you can do similar thing. The content is similar to other group นะคะ Purin. But you concentrate in flooding problem in Thailand นะคะ So totally we have two groups studying flooding. Your group and Red Panda, but Red Panda they emphasize firstly on the problem of rainfall, heavy rainfall, and then it will end up with the as a consequence of flooding. Okay, and then another group only one concerning drought, and another two groups concerning about coastal erosion, and another group Hogwarts group concerning the storm surge in Thailand. So all of these are interesting. I'm curious to know what will you do. Okay? Okay. So today we stop here and then we continue after midterm exam. Okay? Only the first course of that event. Okay? Not much. Then you can have time to do because next week you have to concentrate on your midterm exam. So I see you again on Tuesday 8, right? Another week, okay? ใช่ไหมลูก เนาะ วันที่ 8 ใช่ไหมลูก วันอังคารที่ 8 นะคะ
ครับผม
Okay อาจารย์
โอเคค่ะ
โอเคครับ
so good luck in your midterm exam บายบาย
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับอาจารย์
สวัสดี
ขอบ
ค่ะ
คุณครับ
ค่ะเลย